After the first few days of work, I had a pretty good idea of everything that needed to be fixed, at least for the most part. This bathroom is totally salvageable. We had some more discoveries. There was mold behind that vanity. I'll admit, the past few days had actually been pretty fun. Getting all the rotten wood, moldy drywall, and smelly carpet out of the house was really pretty satisfying. As dirty as the work was, it also gave me a much better understanding of what we were actually dealing with. But after 3 days of demolition and a little bit of kung fu, I needed to switch gears. I only had 3 working days left before heading back to Texas, and I needed to get the house sealed back up before I left. It was finally time to start putting Humpty Dumpty back together again. After getting the insulation replaced, I was able to go ahead and put the sheathing back on and then seal it all up with some house wrap. Now I could turn my attention back to the inside. We had some more discoveries. I noticed when I took off the siding on the outside right here, there was mold behind that vanity. I guess this thing had leaked. But on the bright side, I did get all the sheathing put back on the outside. We can see out here, looking pretty good. Now that I had the walls sealed back up, I needed to make sure I addressed what caused them to rot in the first place. I'd mentioned the drainage problems briefly in the last episode, but this was really at the root of a lot of the damage I'd found on the inside. The neighbor's gutters actually are flowing straight down, and you can actually see literally where the water comes through right here and just flows right down through here, and then it's just on top of this concrete. If I could just dig a little trench here and maybe channel some of this water out that way or even out this way. I actually have been getting some rain here recently, so you can kind of tell just comes off of both of these valleys up here and just floods this little area. I'm sure, as you can see, it's kind of mounded up in the middle, and then you can see the little ravines kind of running off right towards the house. It was a hot one. I don't know if you can tell, but my shirt is completely soaked, and so are my pants. And I didn't pee myself. It's all sweat. So I just got done hopefully fixing the drainage. So we put in this piece where it was the worst. I mounded up some dirt next to this and dug a trench. That way when the water comes in, it'll travel down this way. Then it should travel along this trench through the back. This is where it's causing the most damage. So on the part that had the siding. So what I did was I shoveled all this dirt back up around the house so that it's opposite of what it was. So there's a dip in the middle and it's raised up around the sides. I'm really happy with this. Just gotta run and get a little more house wrap to seal that up, and then be working on this roof in here. So today I've got a couple of friends helping me out, and we are going to reframe this section. This is the back closet type area of the garage, and so we're gonna have to put in a new bottom plate and reframe up these walls. But I think first, we're going to put up some temporary supports to support this ceiling, and we're gonna rip out all this old siding and sheathing all the way to the header and put our new header in, and then scab onto these pieces. Okay. All right, so we got our temporary walls set up, and so now we're starting to demolish this 1x4 that these ceiling joists were into. Man, there's some serious rot back there. Once we get all this off, then we can start putting our header up. But yeah, we just put some supports up, brought it far enough back to where we have room to sister our boards in here when we get ready to, and then we tacked it into the ceiling joist a little bit just to keep it all in place. We got this cleared out. We discovered some pretty major rot on our outside studs there. So I think we're gonna run a supporting top plate underneath there. and put some new studs in, put a couple extras at the end there. And I mean, you can see just straight daylight. It's kind of hard to tell with the light. But yeah, I mean, we were passing tools through there. We were passing crowbars through there. But yeah, this is what it looks like behind here. And Nick's working up there right now. I don't know what he's doing, but something. So we're gonna run our 2x10 all the way across there as a brand new header for all that. All right, so here we are up on this roof. You can see this fascia. I guess somehow the rain was running off right here and just totally rotted that fascia, and it was coming down. You can see where it was coming behind the siding right here. And it's pretty obvious now looking at this why we had so much problems underneath here. I mean, obviously the siding's in really rough shape, but really it's this bottom piece here that it's just totally rotten out. Probably wasn't properly flashed. So I think what we're gonna do is pull the siding off, pull the fascia off, put some flashing on, and then house wrap it. All right, man, we have done a lot today. So as you see, I'm walking on this roof because we got it reframed. We went ahead and ripped off all this fascia and siding up on this gable. So this should be a really good solution until we have time to come back and do the siding. We got some rain today, or last night. Having some interesting observations here with how the water's flowing. You can definitely see how the water's flowing away from the house and down into this trench here. Another good thing is you can see that where I created my little plateau around the edges is still higher up, and you can see literally a line right where the roof drip is. You can see it literally like flowing down and out this way. Same over here. You can see this little ravine forming coming down this way, which is really encouraging. One major spot that's going to need gutters is this, because this soffit doesn't extend far enough out from this wall, and so the splashback, you can see where it naturally wants to hit is just, it's always going to splash right onto the exterior right there. But you can definitely tell that this little trench carried some water here, which is really nice. Like, you can really see where the water flowed through here. A couple things I'm noticing is, for one, we do have this little gap in the gutter that I didn't fix yesterday. That definitely let in a little bit of water, and I think that's maybe some of what this is, but this is soaking wet right here, this decking. And we already knew that these pieces had been getting water just because of the way they look, but I think water is just coming through here and pulling up right here. I think luckily my solution for this gap worked pretty well, where I filled this and filled it with polyurethane concrete joint gap filler. So it does seem to be keeping the wood dry there, which is really nice. You can see a little bit where it came off of this corner and maybe made this little pool, but not too bad. And then one of the major issues is going to be right here where this carport was, which we kind of knew about this, but we've got water leaking out from these gaps right here and splashing right onto the sheathing. And so that's definitely something we'll have to address. Here's our final look of what we did yesterday when we reframed this closet. So we had to demo all the old material that was behind here, and we replaced it with this 2x10 header up here, and then we went through and sistered on some framing to the existing and put some cross supports in to screw to there. And we got up there yesterday and it held up solid. And looking at it this morning after the rain, there are 0 leaks to be found at all. So that is very encouraging. This week was about getting the house to a point where it wasn't being damaged more. This way I can go home back to Texas and the house isn't becoming worse as I'm waiting to come work on it some more. So as you can see, we got all this carpet out. We didn't really do too much at all to this side of the house. In this next phase, I think what we're gonna do is go ahead and demo this shower for sure. We're gonna replumb all these valves. So basically the next few phases are gonna be about just getting this livable. So let's go check out what we actually did instead of just talking about what we're gonna do and what we didn't do. This is where a lot of the major problems were. And so we'll start in this bathroom here. This was just discovery after discovery. So there's the pantry right there, and we knew there was mold inside that pantry. But when I went to pull off the wall of the pantry, I noticed there was a bunch of dirt. Turns out, I guess a mole had come up and was living underneath the bathtub. I realized there was a lot of mold on the backside of this drywall where this vanity was that was hidden by some wood paneling. And so that had to come out. And then we discovered leaks on these valves. And so that was why we capped that off there. But yeah, this will all get replumbed eventually. So another one of the major issues that we knew of when we bought the house was all this drywall in this garage was really moldy, about a couple feet up. And so what I did was I just ran my laser level and just cut that about 3 feet up, so I could remove all the insulation and all the affected drywall out of there. With week 1 behind us, we had a much better understanding of the major repairs needed and had addressed some of the most existential problems. That sets us up nicely for the next trip, where the goal will be to get the house livable enough for future trips, while also setting us up for the next phases of the renovation.
Welcome to the mountains of Oklahoma. Yeehaw! Maybe that price to rent the dumpster is worth it.